From dog tags to ownership, heroes take the lead. Stories of veterans building dreams with passion, drive, and speed. From service to success, we're here to inspire the quest. Dog tags to ownership, we're the best. Take the prize.
Welcome back to Dog Tags to Ownership, the show where we help veterans, military spouses, and military-connected entrepreneurs turn service into ownership.
Every week, we bring you conversations with founders, leaders, and innovators, proving the next mission begins after the uniform comes off.
Today is a special episode. We're looking back at June while looking ahead to the July 1st launch of Forces Brands USA, the only marketplace dedicated to veteran-owned products and services. So today, we are going to recap the month of June and also talk about what is ahead for Dog Tags to Ownership and Forces Brands USA. This month's recap, we are going to focus on 4 incredible episodes with the theme of healing, building, and scaling. We're going to recap episode 22 with Keith Cole, episode 23 with Javier Guitron, episode 24 with Scott Lackey, and episode 25 with Jamie and Sara J. So Matt, what did you think about June?
It was a packed month, right? Lots going on. We had our family vacation in North Carolina. We celebrated your retirement, another friend's promotion, Atlas's 3rd birthday. So much. And then this last week or two, we've been just jam-packed with podcast episodes. So it's great seeing people reaching out, wanting to be on the podcast. And it's just so exciting having them on there and listening to their journeys.
Yeah, it has been a whirlwind of a month of June for all of us, but it's also been really exciting. And I think we had 4 great episodes to really round out June. And like you said, my retirement, family vacation, birthdays, another friend's promotion. But as I listened to the episodes over the month of June, kept coming back to the theme of healing, building, and scaling, and thinking about us and what we're doing and how we are taking things that we learned from the military, our trauma, healing, building what we have here, and then scaling it. And that's what it's all about. And these 4 episodes really exemplify that and what we were able to discuss with the guests. So I guess we can start our recap with episode 22, Keith Cole. Our first ever Vietnam veteran on the podcast. Was pretty impressive. Just his life, his story. I kept going back, and as he was talking and listening to the episode, thinking about my own father and my father-in-law and the things that they went through in Vietnam, coming home from Vietnam, having to continue on after Vietnam, and not really having the support that those military members, veterans, needed like we have today. So Keith was really about healing, but healing isn't a weakness. It's about leadership. And he proved that with what he did coming home from Vietnam and continuing to build. Turn it over to you for your thoughts on Keith Cole.
Yeah, I think if you're struggling with trauma, substance abuse, that sort of thing, Keith's episode is a great listen to getting back on your feet and getting on a path of success, sobriety, that sort of thing. Took a lot of intestinal fortitude for him to change the path that he was on and create a better path for himself and his family. And now a recent author of his first book, and we're just excited for what he's doing and the impact that he's having on veterans, those that have overcome trauma from either war or the reception that he had when he came home.
Yeah, and he really discussed the burnout. And I think the burnout is something that not a lot of people talk about. And the way in which he framed that burnout and being a little vulnerable here, talk to my therapist about it, because your body will tell you at some point, like, you're done, and it will begin to shut down on you, and you'll feel all of those things when it comes to the burnout. And that's what he felt. And then from there, he was able to, okay, I got to change some things and I got to figure this out. Just really great story. And check out his book. It's a great book. Burnout, God's Recovery Plan. Just a great story and what he's done and how he is trying to help others through their journey of trauma and burnout. Moving on to episode 23, Javier Guitron. I think the biggest takeaway from Javi, back to our theme of healing, building, and scaling, but for him, it's ownership creates options. Javi discussed his intentional transition, wealth creation, and then helping others in their transition as well. I'll turn it over to you and your thoughts on Javi.
Yep. Just a phenomenal attitude just about life, from humble beginnings to becoming an Army Ranger, Special Forces soldier, and having an extremely successful 22-year career. He summed up his career as being fun, and he told us quite a few stories about supporting a buddy through Special Forces selection just because the bond of brotherhood and wanting to support a friend. Really having no intention of really wanting to stay in the Army at that point or becoming part of the Special Forces. That was just his attitude all along. A lot of happenstance and putting himself in certain scenarios to create opportunities, as you mentioned, talking with a neighbor and getting involved in real estate. And while he talked about the neighbor maybe not having the best intentions at one point, he looked at the silver lining and the fact that he learned how to become a real estate investor and looking at properties and running numbers. And he learned that craft and was able to purchase several properties and probably change his wealth position for the long term, taking maybe some negative situations, and his attitude was completely positive. And it's just such a good lesson in life. The adage of life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That's Javi. That's how he lived his 22-year career.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to our theme too, healing, building, and scaling. For him, it was all about the transition and building. He was always like, hey, I'm having fun in the military, but I also know at some point I have to get out. So how am I going to build something so when I get out and I transition, I have something? And like you mentioned, yeah, maybe the neighbor wasn't always the best of the money keeping, but he learned the skill. He was able to take that and then build his wealth. So when he did transition, he had something there. A great story, really great story on transition and thinking about your transition intentionally before you get out, because all of us at some point are going to have to get out of the military, and really thinking about that way before you are getting out so that you have a plan when you get out. Just great dude overall, fun to talk to, a ball of energy, just doing some amazing things to also help others within his network.
Julie, he talked about one, he's continually engaging with soldiers in uniform as a contractor and really trying to motivate them to take college classes and be thinking about what's next when the uniform comes off. And he's also offered to share insight information if you are interested in investing in real estate. He's not going to charge you like some of the folks out there. So reach out to him. He would help you out and share his insights and what he's learned, and maybe try to steer you away from some of the pitfalls that he maybe fell into initially.
That brings us to episode 24 with Scott Lackey. And back to our overall theme of healing, building, and scaling. Scott went through all three of those. Healing from life setbacks, disappointments, to then coming back up, building his next thing, his next adventure, his next entrepreneurial journey, and then scaling that. And the biggest thing I take from Scott Lackey from episode 24 is don't wait for perfection, launch and learn. And that's what he did with 3 different businesses, with the Wire Dog, and then with the Child Health Passport, and then now with his book and what he's doing with that. So yeah, he might have, got pushed down, knocked, what's that song? I get pushed down and knocked
I get
around.
knocked down, but I get
Yeah, I
knocked
get
up.
knocked down and pushed pushed around and back up again. That's like an old school song from like our childhood, I think. But that was him. He did it and was like, okay, I'm gonna get back up, I'm gonna build, and then I'm gonna scale. So biggest takeaway from him is don't wait for perfection, launch and learn. And really that episode highlighted the journey of entrepreneurship, failure, resilience, and then forgiving yourself. I'll turn it over to you, Matt, on your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of really enjoying his book, Wake Up to Die Again, and that kind of takes us through his life's journey. A lot of what we cover in the podcast, but I know there's even more packed into the book as well. It's actually a really easy read. It's very relatable for anyone that has tried and maybe failed at at things in life, but becoming comfortable with and not looking at failure as a negative thing, as a lesson to grow upon and build upon. And Scott exemplifies that. Another super positive guy that's taken a lot of shots at life. It's not always worked out. It's not always been sunshine and rainbows, but he continues to dust himself off and keep moving forward.
I really enjoyed talking to him. He's one of those guys that you can just talk to and he'll tell you, "Hey, I failed at this. I really wanted to do this. I thought it was a great idea. That's why I got out of the army. It didn't work out the way I thought it would." He shot a shot. He sent a letter to the American Airlines CEO, like just things that he did in his life to try to make it better and to in that entrepreneurial spirit of, "Hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try. We'll see what happens." And so just a great person, great guy, but really enjoy talking with him and learning from him. All right. Then that moves us to episode 25 with Jamie J and Sara. Another, I believe, great episode. But going back to the overall theme of healing, building, and scaling, Jamie J exemplifies all three of those things. Jamie got out of the army, was homeless. He tells the story in the podcast. He then had to build his life back after the army and then was able to start building businesses. And now, with his building of businesses, is helping others scale their businesses with category design and delegation intelligence that he has created. And with his business of bottleneck distant assistance, he is helping others scale their business. And the biggest takeaway I take from him is build a business that creates freedom. That's what he's doing. That's what he's trying to do and help others is build a business that helps them create their own freedom within that business. So I'll turn over to you, Matt.
Yeah, there's a popular book. It's the 4 Hour Work Week, and Jamie kind of lives by that motto: get out of your own way and build a system to free up your time. It's always great having a spouse on the podcast, so you always get the back and forth banter. They happen to be in like a 600 square foot cabin as they're building a larger home on their property in Missouri. And they were literally divided by like a wall in the cabin while we were doing the podcast. So just a lot of fun on there. And Jamie comes off very humble, but he is wicked smart and just an incredible systems guy. Something I need to be probably better at. He talks about the bottleneck typically in a company is you, especially if you're a maybe self-employed or just starting your business and looking to grow it. A lot of the times it's the owner operator that's putting in the long hours, and his platform frees up some of that time. And it's more than just a virtual assistant. He doesn't even like the comparison because his company is much more than that. Just a humble dude and a smart guy, and he's always willing to reach out and help a veteran. If they've got questions on where they should go next, you could set up a call, do a consultation with him on like growing, scaling your business.
I think you really nailed it with he's just the kind of person that wants to help others, and he really wants to help the veteran community with what they're doing. So reach out to him, like you said, Matt, bottleneck distant assistance. If you are a founder, an entrepreneur, and you're kind of stuck in your own way, reach out to him because he'll do consultations with you and try to help you get unstuck, even if you don't use their services. Great couple doing great things and came, like you said, humble beginnings, but has really taken that and back to the theme of healing, building, scaling. He is the epitome of those three things in what he has done with his life. So that wraps us up for our 4 episodes of June. So I'm going to turn it over to you for our new segment that we're going to be having called the 3 dog tags. Matt, what are the 3 dog tags of June for the listeners?
So the 3 dog tags for the month of June are: 1, heal what holds you back; 2, build intentionally; and 3, create systems that scale. And all of our guests during the month of June exemplify those key themes and takeaways.
The next big thing we're going to be doing on every episode is our featured business of the week. We will be highlighting one business of the week that we believe is doing something bigger and better to help the veteran community and support the veteran community. Your business of the week is going to be with Michael Waskowicz and Dolly Gray, the founders and owners of the Barbook app, C.R.A.F.T Brewing and Distilling Company, the nonprofit. Mike is a retired U.S. Army Sergeant Major, and Dolly is a retired colonel. Together, they are really trying to help and grow the alcohol industry, in particular with C.R.A.F.T Brewing and Distilling Company. C.R.A.F.T is a nonprofit that's really trying to help veterans who want to get into brewing and distilling. They are trying to highlight those businesses and help them grow, because it is a tough market to be in with different alcohol laws and things like that. So they are trying to be a nonprofit that helps veterans get into the brewing and distilling business and be able to market themselves in those industries. And the reason we picked them as our feature business of the week and our first feature business of the week is because they just did a huge event in Nashville, Tennessee on June 18th called the Frontline Tasting. It was their first Frontline Tasting, and that event brought different veteran-owned spirit companies to a restaurant in Nashville, Tennessee, and they allowed people to do a tasting of the products, but also it wasn't just a tasting. Everyone who came was also able to hear the story behind the spirit or behind the product. And a lot of times when we talk about veteran-owned businesses, there is a story behind the product. And each of the ones that they highlighted at their first Frontline Tasting in Nashville had a story. And so the folks who came to that event got to hear about the story and why they built that spirit in that company. Another great organization who is trying to help the veteran community in growing the brewing and distilling industry for veterans. So this month, as we reflected with our June recap, one thing kept coming up: purpose. Every one of our guests reminded us that entrepreneurship isn't just about building a business. It's about continuing to serve. That made us think of someone who's doing exactly that every single day. And that person is Mike. Every day, Mike is going out and trying to make the veteran community better. So Mike and Dolly, welcome back to Dog Tags Ownership. We are pumped to be back in your dining room. We met Mike and Dolly back in season 1. Big deal. And they are the founders of C.R.A.F.T, their newest mission to support veterans through distilling and spirits. How are you guys doing? Tired. Yes. Tired? Okay.
No, good. We just finished frontline tastings. So it's been a whirlwind. It's been a lot of fun doing this. A lot of time spent working with different veteran brands and getting to know some. And we wanted to make sure we put a few out there today to talk to you with while we're having this conversation. Because like you said, we're all about exposing veteran brands in the adult beverage industry and showcasing some of the cool things we do. I'm learning a hack from Nashville, which I earned in Nashville from Jose from Warrior Dog Spirits. He handed it to me, so I thought that I would put it back on today for this episode. And we're definitely going to try some of Warrior Dog Spirits and, maybe even talk a little bit about their stores with these 10 brands, because they're fantastic. And one of the greatest things about talking through veteran name brands, and I know you know this, but is they're so story connected, and there's so much, they're not just a product somebody put on a shelf to make a business. There's usually a lot of heart and soul and story and background that comes from that makes it just that much better, that much connected to the fabric of the mail. Can
we back up for a second?
Sure.
Can you tell the listeners and followers what is C.R.A.F.T and why did you found C.R.A.F.T? And for those of you out there, it's a nonprofit. What is C.R.A.F.T and why did you found it?
So C.R.A.F.T is the coalition to represent American flavor and tradition for brewing and distilling. And it all came out of the idea that to a lot of adult beverage industry trade shows and with a lot of different veterans, and there's a lot of connectivity in the way they were doing things, but it all fell apart at the end of the trade shows, right? Everybody got together as veterans, and they all had this planned purpose to do something to support us as a category. But everybody had to go back to work. Everybody had to go back to a normal business. Then the bottom line becomes kind of the driving force. So we got with some friends and decided that we're going to pick up some of those challenges that we built together and drive forward with C.R.A.F.T. And the idea being that veterans already make up a huge percentage of the adult beverage industry. And if you really think historically, talking American T50, it's foundational to the adult beverage industry. I mean, George Washington was a distiller, ran one of the largest distilleries in the nation after he left service. And so that tradition carries on today, whether it's Jose or Zach or any of these other brands, they do the same thing. They carry on the same tradition. So we want to make ways that we can expose them on a large scale that competes with the Jack Daniels or a Jim Beam, with some of these huge brands that have marketing budgets.
Here's the problem with veterans. We are so used to doing things on our own, getting it done, that we don't talk to each other. So one of the purposes of C.R.A.F.T is to make sure that we talk to each other and help each other, because there are so many veteran-owned distilleries, breweries, even the non-alcoholic side of things with waters and stuff. And we're out there forging our own way, forgetting that there are other people out there, because that's what we were taught to do in the military. We're going to get it done no matter what. And so this is a way for us to get it done, but help others, from whoever's got the farmland with corn and the meat, all the way up to the bottles, all the way up to the bars and everything else. It's a way C.R.A.F.T is trying to bring everybody together so we help each other in that community and family that we were taught about through our service. We are now serving each other.
Yeah, I think what you said is vitally important to the veteran community. And it's not just a veteran system, right? So your military members, your veterans, and your military, both are explaining that's what C.R.A.F.T is for the brewing and distilling industry, is to uplift all
Exposure.
As Dolly and I had talked about, well, you could walk into any bar, restaurant, business place, whatever, and ask them if they wanted to support veteran-owned brands. The majority are sit there and go, yes, sure. They just don't know how. Necessarily, there's not a clear voice for them to be able to get to that path. So I think
It's more than a military discount.
yes, I think there's a way to do it by really creating business opportunities.
to about just AFEs, right? Like in the plastic store, trying to get veteran differences in there. Like, that is so difficult to do. We talked about here in Virginia at the ABC stores, if there's not a lot of spirits, and there's a few, right? So it's getting people out there, getting them front and center so that people know, hey, we do make good spirits, like Warrior Dog, like Fifth Haven Fischasser, and so many others that are out there.
Yeah, 100%. And there are some brands that may not want to put a sticker on their bottle that says veteran owned or label their product, because they do want to be recognized for the work that they put into the brand itself. I think that's incumbent on us to help build that platform for them. Whether that's a shelf we can put in an ABC store or an AV store or something, it just shows off some of these brands. Yeah, I think there's a way to do it without making it seem disingenuous.
Move into your first frontline tasting.
Yeah.
So you guys did that on June 18th
Yes.
in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes.
So what was the purpose? Why did you do that? Why was it your first event?
Yeah, so we were looking for a city that was going to be a lot of fun, friendly to the veteran community, and 2 different products. And Nashville just kind of stuck a chord.
Thank you, Barrel Creek.
Yes, thank you, Barrel Proof. They were fantastic. They bent over backwards to make sure that we could put on an event there. They went above and beyond, really. They did, to make it feel like an event for veterans. Also inclusive of the outside community. We put on this event that out with all the tickets on. Taste them, hear the stories, connect with the brands, talk with people in a storytelling style atmosphere. It's more than just a tasting event like you experience in most package stores or things like that. It was a storytelling event. Some were emotional, some were just very connected, but it was just a cool event.
Can you highlight what brands you had there?
Sure.
And a little bit about them.
So we had Warrior Dog.
We did.
We had Fifth Haven Fischasser, Larrikin Bourbon.
We had Silk Road Wines,
Right.
which is a Georgian wine importer out of Florida. We had Spec-Ops Water, which is a fantastic company that they're trying to reduce microplastics in doing canned waters, which they're just really cool. And, just a short piece on that. So be on the lookout for Spec-Ops Water. And then we had Double Time Sports Drink, which is a rival to some of the other big sport drinks that you see out there at the level. But they're all fantastic products, and they are veteran owned, 100%, some by singles, some by groups. Fifth Haven Fischasser, the husband wife team, and Zach is still serving. Zach actually couldn't be at the event and was briefing me to make sure I could do this justice
Because he was put on orders.
because he was deployed early
Yeah.
and had to leave. So it's just a testament to some of the challenges that veteran-owned brands may face while they're still serving or after they've lost service. And then we got Jose and Erica from Warrior Dog and the Warrior Dog Foundation that came out and talked to us not only about what they're doing in spirits, but also how they're helping warrior dogs in with their foundation and what they're doing. So every one of these brands is finding a way to get that and donate back to their communities in their own way. Spec so Auto does something as well. They all have purpose, as you said, behind their brands.
Just a way to really sit down and connect, like you both said, with the brands, understand the brands and why one, the brands are made, but also taste some delicious products while doing that. So kudos to the two of you for your first frontline tasting. It's amazing. So what's next? When's the next one? And what's on the horizon?
The big one on the horizon that is planned to bring to the books right now is September in Tampa with alongside Military Influencer Conference Tampa. With that's got a huge build out. We have some great things for all the brands that are coming. The Tampa Airport, which I think I can announce this on here, the Tampa Airport is actually partnered with us to the point where they are bringing restaurants inside Tampa International to a meeting with every one of the brands that we've done. So it will be a sales opportunity for every brand. You know, again, it's about creating business opportunities. So they all get to showcase their stuff. They get to talk to craft. And hopefully we can put some menus inside of the Tampa Airport. We also have some distribution from Florida. Florida's hugely veteran friendly. Tampa especially, it's a huge veteran community. So we're trying to open up some different pathways for brands that don't have access in Florida and then expand the ones that already do. Two more that are on the horizon. There is one we're in talks for Louisville with a large veteran organization, one for DC with another private organization. So there's a few. It's being asked for. And 2027, we get to go to this one. We get to go to Military Creator Con and go to Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area, which we can't wait to go back to, and go hang out with Mara and James and do MCC.
Can you just go back real fast though to the Tampa one?
Yeah.
So you're doing another frontline tasting besides the airport piece of it.
Yeah, so it will be a 3-day event. Day one is a media and industry day where we will have podcasters get to interact with the brands, do some interviews. We've got 4 different podcasts. One's going to do a live broadcast and kind of go through some of the pieces. And then 3 others in the interviews. We'll take the results from that day and we're going to go into a meeting with the airport. And then we also have iHeartRadio that's going to give us some airtime to do some things with them. And then we move on to actually our interaction with Nick the following day, where there will be a large tasting event.
Well, with that, are you still accepting brands?
We are probably 95% full. But if there is a brand that is interested, even if you're talking about Tampa or one of our future events, reach out, have a conversation. We can always look at things we're doing. New opportunities are on the rise all the time.
Yeah. So if you're a brewing or distilling brand that's out there, you're just getting started, or you just want to be part of the veteran community, reach out to C.R.A.F.T, share your story, what you have, anything else about that.
I do want to say that one of the services that we are offering to veteran-owned brands, if you want to be a part of this, Frontline Tastings is absolutely a free service to veteran-owned brands. Showing up and pouring, they're already spending your time and effort to travel and your product to show up and be a part of these. So we are removing the barrier of cost for paying for a table, sponsorships and donations. So those things still need to continue, but we want to make it open to all of the brands. So brands that have a very small operating budget, this is a chance to get a large stage.
Yeah. And that is amazing because there's so many brands out there that are getting started, trying to figure it out. Mike and Dolly, thank you so much for what you're doing to support veterans.
And with that, we are running in the month of July as we launch Forces Brands USA, the Replace One Challenge. So replace one, support one, share one. We are challenging you, our listeners and followers, to replace one product or service that you normally buy with a veteran-owned alternative during the month of July. So some of the examples that are out there are coffee. Whatever your favorite coffee is, replace that with a veteran-owned coffee company in the month of July and start drinking that. Take a picture, tag us, use the hashtag #ReplaceOneChallenge, and let's support veteran-owned businesses one product, service at a time with the Replace One Challenge. And then that brings us to our big announcement, and you can do that by visiting Forces Brands USA beginning on July 1st. Dog Tags the Ownership is the platform in which we will tell the stories, but Forces Brands USA is where those stories come to life by you going and supporting and buying from a veteran-owned business, looking for a veteran-owned service, or listening to a veteran podcast. Please join us. Go to Shop around on Forces Brands USA starting on July 1st, and then buy a veteran-owned business, replace one thing, and let's see you all start helping grow veteran-owned businesses in the month of July because, as we all know, America 250 is coming, but we would not have America 250 without the military. So if you want to say thank you for your service, go buy from veteran-owned. Our final announcement is we are also proud members of the Heroes Media Group Network, a network that connects veteran podcasts, first responder podcasts, all in one simple location. For 250 years, Americans have answered the call to serve. This July, answer a different call. Replace one purchase, support one veteran-owned business, and share their story.
The uniform may come off, but the mission never ends.
Keep turning your dog tags into ownership.
And one last question. Did you make your bed today?
From dog tags to ownership, heroes take the lead. Stories of veterans building trains with passion, drive, and speed. From service to success, we're here to inspire the quest. Dog tags to ownership, we're the best. Take the pride.